This is Bits of Banter with Antoinette, and we're going to be talking about Summer House Season 9, Episode 7. And the main issues, the main dramas of this episode were between Cierra, or the main, topics were between Cierra and Jesse likes Cierra now, but also Jesse loved Lexi, but also Sari has his toe sucked? I don't know. As well as the topic of between the friendship between Jesse, West, and Cierra, and West still being butthurt about Cierra holding him accountable and not wanting to be friends with him right now. Ugh. And then Craig and Kyle's friendship or lack thereof, and Paige and Craig. Those are the main things that we're going to discuss. Let's start with Cierra, Jesse, and West. So basically, this whole episode, Jesse is flirting with Cierra. One of the main premises of the episode is that Jesse's girlfriend, because they haven't been official, they're not official yet. Lexi, the girl that he's known for 2 weeks? Yikes. I don't know. She is not actually at the house this weekend. Neither is Lindsay, but we're not going to really talk about her. She ends up staging her house. Whatever. So Lexi's not there. He's deciding that, Jesse ends up talking about how they haven't slept together and how he's trying to be a good guy and she wants to make sure that they're exclusive before they sleep together. And so he misses her and he's not going to do anything this weekend when they have a party. And the party that they're having is called Shipwrecked. And everyone dresses up a lot. And Cierra, she's always going to come correct with how she dresses up. And I absolutely love that about her. So a lot of the episode, Cierra and Jesse are flirting. But they're also acting just like friends, honestly. He's asking her for advice about Lexi and she's giving it. But then at one point he ends up asking her, why didn't you ever give me a chance? And she's like, why didn't you ever try? And he says, because West called dibs on you, which in the end, they actually had to talk about her and Cierra and Paige ended up talking about how that's kind of ridiculous because how did he call dibs on me when the first day that you came, you weren't even friends with West? These are great questions. These are great questions. In all honesty, how did West call dibs? And there's a big part of me that just feels like Jesse just loves attention. And even though, yes, I think he's definitely very attracted to Cierra. But I don't think that he actually really likes Cierra, just like he's very attracted to Paige. But I don't think he actually would get with either of them. Or maybe he would, if they offered it, he would say yes. But I don't think that he actually wants either of them. Really. I think he just wants attention or wants, people to like him or wants the flirting. I just think he's an attention whore, But then Amanda and Kyle and Craig end up getting involved and they're all like, I feel like there's something there. And they ask Jesse, do you actually like Cierra? And he's like, yeah, I have eyes. And yeah, Sierra's a literal goddess. If you don't see how gorgeous she is, you are blind. You're blind. You should get your eyes checked, right? But I don't know. I just don't feel like there is a genuine interest from Jesse. But also, yeah, he is friends with West. So I don't think anything is going to go there. So that was kind of one of the main premises. What do you guys think about that? Do you think that they actually have sexual chemistry, but do you think that they could actually date each other? What do you guys think? Okay. Second, there's a conversation between Jesse and West. And West is I want us to he wants Cierra and him to go back to what they were before. Which I'm I don't even know how you're going to do that. He wants to go back to what they were before. And then cuddling, and they even do this pan shot to West and Cierra and Jesse cuddling, and then Jesse's you know what, I'm gonna talk to her because she hardly even looks at you, and that's not okay. And honestly, my first thing is Jesse, stay out of it. But he goes and talks to Cierra, and Sierra's honestly, he used me. I don't see us ever getting back there. I understand what you're saying, but we're never going to get back to that point. sorry, not sorry. And honestly, I get it. Jesse wants her friendship to go back to what it was before. So does West. But however, that's just not what's going to happen. And I feel like a lot of women have been there before where guys have treated you badly and then they're upset. They're like saddened. You know what I mean? That they don't get the same access to you that they had before they treated you badly, before you were hurt. And that's just kind of life, dude. Right? That's just how life works. Like, you don't get the same version of me after you hurt me. And I really feel like Cierra's actually doing quite a good job of like just keeping her distance from Wes, but like not doing too much there, you know? And I feel like it's more West that is continuing this narrative that like, she won't even look at me, dude. She won't, like, move on. Move on. But then Jesse, being the mess that he is, but he's quite drunk, ends up telling West about the conversation he has with Cierra, and West gets pissed. He goes off about it to Amanda, and then he ends up talking crap about Cierra, being like, I didn't use her. Like, she needs to stop this narrative. She needs to stop talking about me to my friends. Correction, West. Correction. She didn't talk about you to your friends. Your friends talked about you to her, and she answered. There's a difference, Bear. There's a difference. I honestly like can't stand this man. He just has a really inability to hold himself accountable and stay in accountability. And he's just mad that she just won't get over it. And he's like, and even on the after show, he ends up talking crap again and being like, she's just mad that I didn't want to date her. Like, and that's why you're doing this, because I just didn't want to date you. It's like, wow. Wow. My God, men like him love to pull that narrative. They love it. They love to like, I just didn't want to date you. That's why you're upset. Like, is that what we're doing? Wes, is that what we're doing? Okay. Okay. I mean, okay. Fine. But yeah, so that was that conversation. That was that conversation. What do you guys think? Do you feel like Wes has you know what? I don't even want to hear that. If you do, you're wrong. But if you want to say, if you feel like West is right to be upset, fine. I disagree with you. But what do you guys think about that conversation? Do you feel like Jesse should have told West? I feel like he shouldn't have. Because like, if you didn't actually go and talk to Cierra and kind of resolve things for them, then I don't think there's anything to go back to West to. It's pretty much like more of the same. Okay, now the conversation, the second like big plot for this episode was Craig and Paige. And you can kind of tell why, because spoiler alert, they're broken up now, 2025, they're not together. And you can kind of see that, like literally in real time, Paige getting the ick. Paige literally getting the ick from Craig. He is very concerned. Craig is getting very concerned about Paige and her tour, and like that, making sure that she is keeping their relationship a priority. But she also ends up talking about how like he's won't say things like doing better than him in a lot of ways, like that her business is actually much better than his right now. He like won't really admit that, and that bothers her, which I'm like, yeah, that would bother me too. And like, she has a conversation with Cierra being like, it kind of feels like I'm with a hater a little bit. And it's kind of like, it is kind of feeling that way. It is kind of feeling that way. But also Craig is just like very much, he never felt like he would be in this submissive position. Like, I guess like he's the one who's kind of going to her a lot. She's on tour. I mean, you're dating a baddie. Sorry, not sorry, but you're dating a baddie. And I just feel like the thing is, Paige has always wanted to be this girl. You know what I mean? Paige has always wanted to be this girl that was like, a multifaceted, girly girl boss, and she's doing that. And I think when they started dating, that wasn't who she was. She was somebody that was, I mean, she was still a baddie, but she like didn't have all this stuff together. She didn't have all her fashion stuff. She didn't have her, her podcast. She didn't have the tour. She didn't have all this stuff, and now she does. And I think he liked her before when his business was the one that was like growing and going crazy. And she was kind of like not as busy. And now that she is, he's like, what the hell? So you can kind of see why they're not together anymore, because he wanted things kind of more to stay the same in their relationship, and things aren't. And she wanted, and I think Paige has kind of always been this way. She always wanted to be this person, and he didn't. He wants somebody that's like just a little bit more submissive, a little bit more like, I want to have babies, etc., a little bit more like it's a Craig show, and that's just not where Paige is. You know what I mean? Like she's really focused on her career, and I just don't think he can really handle that. And he tries to act like it's her not paying attention to him, but it's just more about like right now, like our relationship can't be the main focal point of my life. And like sometimes that happened. Like, hey, like when I was in nursing school, my relationship with my fiance was not the main focal point. We actually weren't even engaged yet. But a year into my, like we actually met right before I started nursing school, like a few months before I started nursing school. Then I started nursing school, which is literally absolutely insane. I was like so inundated with stress. I was also working full time and I was in school full time. And, you know, obviously I didn't have as much time as I did the couple months before, but like he was absolutely amazing. And then literally a year into my nursing school proposed to me. So there are some men out there that will support you and that will be like, yeah, you do you first. But then also right now, I'm still really busy. Like I am a nurse as well as like I'm building my content creation, quote unquote, empire. Oh my God, I hate that I said that. Sorry, guys. Ugh, that was gross. But I'm building that, you know? And so like I am constantly doing things like when I'm not working, I'm working on this. And you know what he does? He helps me set up he helps me set this up. He helps me, makes me dinner, you know, makes me dinner. He helps me, you know, so I don't have to take the dogs out. He's all like, you know what I mean? Like he supports me in that and makes sure that I like that whatever I'm doing is like less stressful. Like, so not that this is about me, but it's just like there are men that will support you in that and just like there are women for men that will support them in that. And just like I support him with his stuff. So sometimes it can work, but I just feel like with Craig and Paige it can't. Okay, what do you guys think about that? So that's the end of the Craig and Paige show. Kind of. But then Craig and Kyle, oh my God, this part does tie into Craig and Paige's relationship a bit. So Craig and Kyle, you know, from last episode, they had this big argument because of the drink thing. You know, him, Craig doing some type of drink sponsorship and not really telling Kyle. But then also Kyle going on Watch What Happened Live and calling Craig a liar because supposedly he told him something else and that's not really what was going on. I don't know. But pretty much Kyle wanted from the first day to like kind of squash things. Craig was literally avoiding him the full time. Then the next day they're at the party and Craig and Paige are talking. They're talking in the boat. And then Kyle comes over and is like, hey, can I sit down and talk to him? Literally, Kyle sits down and Craig's like, I'll be right back. And then makes Kyle sit alone in the boat for like 15 minutes by himself. And he's just constantly avoiding the conversation. And one way that he is being a bad boyfriend for this is that, you know, he knows that this has been such an issue before for Paige, where Hannah, her best friend, literally can't hang out with her other best friends, Kyle and Amanda and everyone else, because of what happened with a different type of drink situation. So it's one of those things where like he knows that friendships have been ended for this. And he also knows that Paige has anxiety. This will cause her a lot of stress. All he needs to do is be a good boyfriend here and squash it. But instead, he's like making it a bigger issue. He doesn't want to address the situation. He's not being a good boyfriend. He's not being a good partner. And he's not being a good friend. So then he comes back. He talks to Kyle. They literally actually get into it. And literally, they're both being like, I was so sad. I was so sad about this. This made me so sad. Like, and pretty much Craig is like, so at one point Kyle's like doesn't want to apologize for calling Craig a liar, and Craig's like, if you don't apologize for calling me a liar, then like there's nothing to say. Like we're not going to there's nowhere this conversation is going to go. And then Kyle finally was like, I could see in his face, he was like, shit, like I don't want to do this to Amanda. Like we actually do need to squash this. I don't want this to affect Amanda and Paige's situation. So he like got a little bit more vulnerable and he's like, hey, you know what? You're right. I do need to work on, I was very hurt, but I do need to work on my emotional regulation. And I do, you know, like I am very much emotionally attached to my business, where like if I feel like my business is being attacked, it feels like a personal attack, and I do need to work on that. And he did apologize to Craig, and you could tell Craig was almost like stunned. He's like, oh, I didn't know where the conversation was going. So he was like, hey, I didn't expect this to go this way. And like Craig didn't really apologize, but he kind of calmed down and kind of was like, I didn't mean for this to happen. So it got squashed. Great. But it only got squashed because Kyle decided to kind of be the bigger person here, which doesn't happen very often, so we need to give him his kudos where we can. So that was that conversation. One little cool thing at the end of it I forgot to say we're going to talk about is not cool thing, but Jesse, okay, Umrul, the hornball, ends up inviting two girls over in night, and then Jesse goes into their room and they have a screenshot of him taking off his socks. And then he comes out and he ends up saying that, oh, well, all he did was have his toe sucked. Sure. Sure, Jesse. And then they asked him, he's like, so you took your socks off for that? He's like, yeah. He's like, did I take off my socks? And then they even have 37 minutes later. All I'm saying is this. I don't believe that he went in there and just got his toe sucked. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Jesse. You're going to have to come up with something else. But the preview for next week shows that he ends up telling Lexi and she's not happy about it. She's like, and then he's also kind of being like, oh my God, why are you making such a big deal about this? I mean, she likes you. Was something sexual. And he ends up trying to say like, it wasn't anything sexual. I'm so sorry, Jesse. It was sexual. I don't know. I don't know about you, but someone sucking my toe is not asexual. Right? I don't know. I don't really feel like I've never really heard of platonic toe sucking. That's just me though. I don't know. Maybe other relationships are different than mine. But yeah, what did you guys think of this episode? Let me know. If there's anything I missed, let's talk about it in the comments, okay? But please like, subscribe, and comment. Until next time, love you, mean it. Bye.